Hallo! Hier im Kohlekeller sind wir... Achso, na verdammt. Jetzt muss ich das Kleid doch wieder nehmen. Nimm Kleid. So, eins nach dem anderen. Das Kleid nehmen wir. Wir benutzen Kleid mit Kohlenrutsche. Ich hoffe, das funktioniert. So, dann machen wir es schwarz und kaputt und abgebraucht. Schwarz ist meine Farbe. Es gefällt mir jetzt noch so viel besser. So, dann dekorieren wir natürlich die Nähpuppe wieder mit dem Kleid. Wem auch immer es gehört. Vielleicht ist es ja unseres. Weiß ich nicht. Dann schneidern... Ach verdammt, wir stehen ja nicht wieder bei der Puppe. Ich vergesse das immer wieder. So, dann schneidern wir ein bisschen. So.
We need to make some adjustments.
Ein paar Änderungen vornehmen. Schnippi, schnappi. Also ich muss adventure-technisch gerade sagen, es ist nicht gerade so...
Now this is a dress worthy of the Cat Widow.
Ja. Es ist...
Why don't you admit it was too small for you?
Das ist gemein.
Ha ha bloody ha. Why don't you just shut up? Whoever wore this dress probably hadn't eaten in years. You'd struggle to get a skeleton into it.
Gemein.
This is it. We've got all we need.
Great. Are you going to tell me about the Cat Widow now?
Yes, it's story time, Mitzi.
Oh.
The legend says there was once a bad man who hated cats.
Er hasste auch seine Nachbarn und seinen Job und wenn es regnete, fluchte er und zerstörte Dinge. Es ist manchmal voll blöd, dass die Textdateien
He
fehlen.
hated his bald head and his weak, ugly body. He probably hated himself the most, although he would never admit it.
I think I see where this is going.
One day, out of pure hatred for the whole world and everything that lives, he captured a family of cats and drowned them all in the river. That day, the sun turned black and all the birds went silent as the 6 kittens struggled for life. But trapped in a strong canvas bag, they never had a chance. They all died that day. All but one. The mother cat, in a desperate fight to set herself free, by pure luck, clawed her way out of the bag and swam to the shore. She stayed on the bank of the river for a while. The world stopped turning for her, her eyes empty and blind. Her heart crashed into pieces as she watched their limp dead bodies stolen by the current. Running after them, she followed them for days, for as long as she could. Then, eventually, she lost sight of them. She stayed on the bank of the river for a while. The world stopped turning for her, her eyes empty and blind. And then, one day, she slowly slid down the bank and into the cold, dark water. She gave in to it. She let the river take her away too, cover her mouth, her ears, her eyes. But as the water filled her lungs and she started slipping into darkness, there was another strange feeling that burst in her mind like a ball of flames. Anger, rage even. Her last craving, before she drowned, was for revenge, for blood. And so she returned, reborn and changed, a cat widow, veiled in black, mistress of the cats. Her body of a young woman, but her eyes of a cat, and her face, white, rotten, face of a corpse. Those who saw it rarely lived to tell the tale. She would get her revenge on all cat killers and cat torturers, but there was someone she had to see first, someone special, someone she really hated the most. As the evening came, it was strangely quiet in the man's flat. As he lived alone, He usually liked to fill the silence with the sound of radio or TV shows. But that night, he switched them all off, feeling anxious and tired after work.
Oh, und so fängt die gemeine Geschichte an.
He tried to sleep, but couldn't. And for once, there wasn't anyone there he could blame for it.
Der tut mir auch leid.
As he stared through the window, he kept thinking about how much he hated that view. He liked it once, a long time ago, when his wife was still there and they were happy together. Suddenly, he heard knocking on the door. Some part of him was glad, because that meant he could take it out on whoever decided to bother him.
Geh nicht, Brian! Sowas tut man doch auch nicht. Wenn der jetzt gemein ist, aber trotzdem.
There was nobody there. He almost felt disappointed. But before he turned to walk away, he suddenly noticed something down the hall.
Das Pedal fehlt. An einer nahegelegenen Wand war ein riesiger Schatten einer Katze. Bemerkte den Schatten einer verhüllten Gestalt vor ihm. Der tote Körper einer ausgeweiteten Katze hing auf der Heizung. Das wäre ein bisschen extrem. Er bemerkte den Schatten einer verhüllten Gestalt vor ihm. An einer nahegelegenen Wand war eine riesige Schatten einer Katze. Das ist viel cooler.
On a nearby wall, there was a giant shadow of a cat.
Unheimlich.
He stopped again. He couldn't believe his eyes.
Jemand hatte Katzenmörder auf seine Tür geschrieben. Der Schädel einer Katze steckte auf dem Sattel seines Fahrrads. Jemand hatte Arschloch auf seine Tür geschrieben. Ein Katzenmörder.
Someone wrote "Cat Killer" on his door.
Cat Killer.
He had a passion for trains.
Ui.
Although he hated being a train driver, he had always enjoyed watching them move. But now, his train model was moving all on its own. He was absolutely certain he'd left it switched off. And yet, there it was, running at crazy speed, remote control missing. Something was seriously wrong, and that something had entered his home now too.
Komm, verschwinde! Geh weg! Geh weg! Oh, der Horror steigert sich.
He hoped he was just imagining things, tired as he was. But there was another surprise waiting for him in his bedroom.
Wir dürfen es entscheiden. Eine riesige, in Blut getränkte Zombie-Katze saß auf seinem Bett. Cat Widow ist hier, die Katzenwitte ist hier, stand überall.
Cat Widow is here was written all over the wall.
Ja. Wie im Traum ging er in die Küche, um etwas zu trinken. Jetzt bekam er wirklich Angst. Der entschied sich, die Polizei zu rufen. Ja, an der Stelle würde ich jetzt auch die Polizei rufen.
Getting really scared now, he decided to call the police. His phone was of no use. The SIM card had been removed, and that wasn't even the worst part. There was a photo of a black cat set as screensaver.
Ja.
He remembered this cat. He'd watched that strange pest control man put it in a cage and into his van. He'd looked at it through the window for a while, then pulled the curtains and went to bed.
Das war Teacup, wie im Traum.
As in a dream, he went to the kitchen to get a drink.
Oh, schlechte Wahl. unheimliche Perspektive.
There was no water. He knew there were valves in the basement that turn it off, but no one's been down there for years. He felt sick. None of this made any sense. And yet, deep down, he knew what he did to the cats was wrong. There was a part of him that almost wanted to be punished. The part he tried so hard to hide. He thought he'd heard something in the corridor. Was there someone there with him?
Oh.
His head was spinning. He felt ambushed, trapped, like an animal. He had to get out of there.
Wo läufst du denn hin, wenn du raus willst? Die Tür ist ja nicht
He
dort.
stopped, paralyzed. He'd heard something right in front of him. A whisper. More like a purr. She was there, in the dark corner of his living room, waiting. Black veil covering that pale, dead face. And yet, he could almost feel Cat Widow's eyes piercing through him.
Cat Widow, die zielt mit einer Schrotflinte auf seine Brust. Nein, sie kam näher wie ein Gespenst und lüftete schnell den Schleier.
She came closer, like a ghost, and swiftly removed the veil.
Wir machen es der Legende gleich.
She came back for him, to take him to the river, to make him pay for what he'd done. As he looked into her eyes, he could feel the world spinning around him, his knees go weak, his pants suddenly wet around his crotch. As much as he hated life, he didn't want to die either. Inside, he was just a big, stinking coward. And then he fainted. Did you see his face? I knew he'd fall for this.
Yeah, we scared the living shit out of him. Now that's teamwork.
Das ja nicht.
Are you sure he won't know it was you, though?
Oh, he probably will, once he's had time to think about what happened. But he's too proud to ever admit he's been beaten by a woman. I know him just about enough to know that.
Let's hope so. I don't want you to get in trouble because of me.
Oh Mann, ey, das ist so
No.
mies.
That was something I had to do for myself. And I feel much better for it.
The only problem now is that we still haven't found Eye of Adam. Because it definitely isn't Brian. The
Ja.
only problem now is that we still haven't found Eye of Adam. Because it definitely
Unzählige Pornos
isn't
gefunden.
Brian.
Ja.
Let's cross him off the list.
So, dann bleibt ja nur noch Susan und Mitzi. Beliebige Taste drücken, um zu schließen. Ja, fand ich sehr interessant, fand ich aber auch sehr gemein, gerade was sie mit dem armen Brian gemacht haben. Das ist so der übelste Streich, den man spielen kann. Das war sehr subtiler Horror, es war keine so Gewalt, Brutalität, sondern es war dieser, die wirkliche Angst, um einen richtig fertig zu machen. Was wollte ich sagen? Ach ja, wenn ihr mal so einen Halloween 1. April-Streich machen wollt, bei jemandem, dann könnt ihr Lebensmittelfarbe in den Duschkopf reintun, also aufschrauben, da reintun, und wenn dann jemand duschen geht, dann kriegt er richtig schön rotes Blut ab für den Anfang. Das verläuft sich ja natürlich dann ist es relativ schnell weg, glaube ich. Ja, dann Happy Halloween oder frohen 1. April. Ist sicherlich auch ein ziemlicher Schocker. Naja, weiter geht's mit der Geschichte. Erstmal.
Well, that means we've checked everyone. We've hit a brick wall. Perhaps I was wrong. Maybe he doesn't live here at all.
Doch, in der Wand. In der neuen Wand.
I think we need to sleep on it. And we might get some more ideas in the morning. Shall we head back home?
Yeah, I do feel tired. You're right, we need some sleep. Really wish there was an elevator in this building.
Treppe rauf, Treppe runter. Oh oh.
What's that? A note? What does it say, Mrs. A?
Sie reimt hier.
You will not believe it. Meet me at midnight, both of you. I will wait. Flat 5. Door will be open. Do not fear. Eye of Adam.
Why? That's the old guy.
Also
Can't
doch.
be. It can't be him.
Natürlich.
I guess we'll find out. At midnight.
Wie schön.
We've got a few hours until then. Let's get some coffee.
Der hat das so professionell gemacht. Aber Eye of Adam will ja eigentlich immer nur einen umbringen, von daher. Mal schauen, was der nächste Tag bringt. Und hier wird wahrscheinlich enthüllt die Wand. Die neu gemachte Wand. Ein weiterer Zugang. Joe Davis, ist das deine Frau?
It's just you and me, my love. No one will find us here. Stop worrying, Ivy. It will be all right. I will always love you. You know that. I'm gonna make you all better.
Oh Gott im Himmel, ist der Typ krank. Wir wissen ja, dass er aus einer Psychiatrie ausgebrochen ist.